You want to be rich, you want to prosper, then you must listen carefully, not to me, but to the truth, because the truth doesn't change. The truth doesn't bend to your preferences. The truth doesn't negotiate with your laziness. It doesn't compromise with your apathy. It stands, fixed, unyielding, eternal. And the truth about wealth, real wealth, is not what you've been sold in cheap videos, shallow posts, or hollow self-help books that promise comfort without sacrifice, results without effort, crowns without crosses. I am not here to tell you how to get rich quick. I'm not here to tickle your ears. I won't flatter you. That's not love, that's manipulation. And if I were to do that, I would be your enemy, not your friend. Because wealth, true wealth, is not something handed out on silver platters. It is carved out of stone with bare, bleeding hands. It is not about cars or yachts or five-star vacations. It is about freedom. It is about stewardship. It is about building something bigger than yourself. It is about becoming a person who can carry weight without collapsing. So if you want to be rich, truly rich, not just with money, but with purpose, clarity, and strength, then you must start with the foundation. You must begin with the habits. Now I'll warn you, these habits will not feel comfortable. They will not feel natural, because your natural state is mediocrity. Your natural tendency is to drift, to sleep, to waste, and so everything in you will resist what I'm about to say. But you must press in anyway. You must go against the current. You must fight for your future, because no one else will. The first habit is ruthless clarity. You don't get rich by accident. You don't stumble into success. You must live with direction, not just motion. Some of you are busy, but you're not effective. You're chasing 10 things and catching none. You've never sat down to define what wealth even looks like for you. You have no metrics, no targets, just feelings, wishes, and I'll tell you, wishes don't build empires. Wishes don't change legacies. You need clarity. You need to write it down. You need to wake up each morning and know exactly what you're chasing and why. A man without a target will never hit it. A man without a vision will perish. That's not just a proverb, that's a law. Second, discipline. Yes, I said it. The word no one wants to hear. The word we've buried under piles of self, care, and indulgence, and do what feels right. But wealth is built on discipline. On doing what you must, not what you want. It's built on waking up early when you want to sleep in. It's built on showing up when no one else will. It's built on mastering your body, your mind, your schedule. And if you can't rule over your own impulses, don't expect to rule over anything else. Because if you're a slave to comfort, you'll never be free. Let me repeat that. If you're a slave to comfort, you'll never be free. Rich people aren't lucky. They're disciplined. They've learned the pain of sacrifice, and they've embraced it. Have you? Third, relentless learning. You think your degree is enough. You think you've learned all you need to learn. That's pride. That's blindness. The world is evolving. The rules are changing. Opportunities are shifting. And the only ones who survive are those who adapt. The only ones who thrive are those who learn. Constantly, relentlessly, daily, you need to read, you need to listen, you need to ask questions that expose your ignorance. You need to sit in rooms with people smarter than you and not talk, just listen. Prideful men speak much and learn little. Wise men are quiet and absorb everything. You want to be rich, then grow, stretch, break the limits of your current understanding, because your income will never exceed your mindset. It will never outgrow your identity, and if you refuse to grow, you're choosing to stay poor. Fourth, control over your money, not just earning, but governing. It is tragic how many of you make money and then squander it. Like children with fireworks, it's gone before it can build anything, because you've never learned control. Budgeting isn't legalism, it's wisdom. Tracking your expenses isn't fear, it's stewardship. Saving isn't scarcity, it's strength. You need to tell your money where to go, not ask where it went. You need to give every dollar an assignment, a purpose, a mission. Because if you can't be trusted with little, you won't be trusted with more. That's a law. If you want more, prove you can handle what you have now. And don't blame others for your foolishness. Don't blame the economy. Don't blame your parents. Don't blame the system. Look in the mirror. You are the gatekeeper of your future wealth. Fifth, strategic relationships. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. You will never rise higher than the people you surround yourself with. You run with fools, you become a fool. You run with people who complain, who mock ambition, who waste time. You will become like them. You must choose your circle with brutal intentionality. Not everyone is meant to walk with you. Some people are weights, not wings, and you've been dragging them for years, calling it loyalty. That's not loyalty. That's suicide. You need to seek mentors, advisors, builders, dreamers, people who sharpen you, who challenge you, who don't let you settle. Cut ties with leeches. Cut ties with critics. You are not called to fellowship with those who sabotage your mission. Surround yourself with those who are going where you want to go, and let them lift you. Sixth, time mastery. You are killing your future with your calendar. You waste hours, days, weeks. You think you're busy, but you're not productive. You confuse activity with progress, but busyness is not business. You scroll, you binge, you procrastinate, and every wasted hour is a nail in the coffin of your potential. Listen to me. Time is not just money, it's life. And if you don't master your minutes, you will lose your years. You need to plan your days before your days plan you. You need to block distractions. You need to honor deadlines. You need to set rhythms that multiply your energy. Don't wait to feel like it. Don't wait to be motivated. Your emotions are unstable. They're toddlers. They scream, they cry, they change. Your systems, your schedule, that's what builds wealth. That's what builds legacy. Seventh, multiple streams of income. You are not made to depend on one source. That's not security. That's slavery. You trade hours for dollars. And when the hours stop, the money stops. That's not wealth. That's a trap. You need to build streams. Rivers, water flowing in from different places. You need investments, side hustles, scalable businesses, royalties. You need income that works while you sleep. Money that moves when you don't. The wealthy don't work more. They work smarter. They set up systems, machines, engines that run without them, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with a decision to stop being dependent, to stop being fragile, to build streams that survive storms, so that one income failing doesn't destroy your household. That's not greed, that's wisdom, that's responsibility. Eighth, personal health. What does that have to do with wealth? Everything. Because your body is the vessel of your productivity. Your mind is the engine of your creativity. And if they fail, you fail. Don't talk to me about ambition while you destroy your health with every meal, every skipped workout, every sleepless night. That's not hustle. That's foolishness. You cannot build wealth from a hospital bed. You cannot lead from a place of burnout. Energy is a competitive advantage, and if you lack it, you lose. You need to move your body. You need to sleep with discipline. You need to eat for fuel, not just pleasure, because when your body is strong, your mind is clear, and when your mind is clear, your results follow. This is not optional. This is foundational. Ninth, emotional mastery. Do you hear me? Mastery, not suppression, not denial, mastery, because your emotions are powerful. They can propel you or destroy you, and the rich, the strong, they don't react, they respond. They don't let fear stop them. They use fear to sharpen them. They don't let anger explode. They channel it into action, but you panic, you quit. You explode, you blame, you spiral, and that's why you lose. That's why you stay stuck. Because you haven't ruled your emotions, and until you do, wealth will be too heavy for you. It will crush you. It will slip through your fingers, because money doesn't change your character. It reveals it. And if you're unstable now, more money will not fix you. It will magnify you. So do the hard work now. Master yourself, and finally, value creation. You want to be rich? Then stop chasing money and start chasing impact. You get paid in direct proportion to the problems you solve, to the value you bring, to the pain you relieve. If you're not rich, it's because you're not helping enough people. You're not solving deep enough problems. You're not serving with excellence. The market doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your goals. It cares about value. Are you making lives better? Are you making things easier? Are you making solutions cheaper, faster, more beautiful? That's what wealth chases. That's what money rewards. Not wishes, not entitlement, not self-promotion, but service. Master this, and you'll never lack again, because the person who solves problems will always be in demand. You think this is hard? Of course it's hard, of course it costs. But what's the alternative? Poverty, regret, mediocrity, living your whole life blaming others, numbing yourself, shrinking your dreams to match your fears. That's not a life, that's an existence, and you were made for more. You were made to build, to grow, to reign, but you must choose it daily. No one can choose it for you, not your parents, not your spouse. Not your coach, only you. You want to be rich, then act like it, think like it, work like it, suffer for it, delay gratification for it, take responsibility for it, and build habits that make it inevitable. Becoming rich requires clarity of vision, relentless discipline, emotional and physical mastery, and stewardship over time, money, and relationships. Wealth is not an accident. It's the natural result of living with structure, purpose, and sacrifice. Riches follow those who solve meaningful problems and serve others with excellence. Money is a byproduct of becoming a person of impact, responsibility, and mastery, not the goal in itself. Change yourself, and your financial reality will follow. Wealth is not the result of a lottery ticket. It does not descend from the sky like a gift. It does not arrive uninvited. It does not reward passivity, and yet so many live as if it will. They live on the edge of hope, but not the edge of responsibility. They talk about breakthrough, but refuse to build. They dream about abundance, but live in avoidance, avoiding discipline, avoiding sacrifice, avoiding hard decisions. Let me speak plainly. Wealth does not answer the voice of the lazy. It does not respond to the cry of the distracted. It comes only to those who are ruthless in their commitment to truth and action, those who understand that discipline is not a punishment, but a pathway, those who no longer wait to feel ready, but instead show up with resolve when the feelings are absent. Discipline is what separates those who want it from those who live it. And when I say discipline, I don't mean moments of hustle followed by long seasons of rest. I don't mean short sprints of motivation that die after a podcast or a YouTube clip. I mean structure. I mean consistency. I mean daily habits forged in the quiet, where no one claps, where no one sees, where there are no likes, no applause, just obedience to the future you claim you want. Some of you have talent, but talent without discipline is just potential wasted. Some of you have dreams, but dreams without structure become fantasies. You want to build a business, yet your mornings are chaos. You want financial freedom, yet your nights are filled with distraction. You want to impact the world, yet you cannot master your own calendar. And so I ask you, what do you truly want? Because your habits already tell me. The man who is serious about wealth wakes with intention. He doesn't hit snooze. He doesn't scroll. He doesn't begin the day reactive. He rises with clarity. He knows that every minute matters, that every hour invested in discipline compounds like interest. He's not perfect, but he is persistent, and that persistence is louder than emotion, louder than excuses, louder than fear. Wealth is built not in weeks, but in years of small choices done well. It's forged in the crucible of repetition. It's not glamorous, it's not always inspiring, it's often quiet, often dull, but it works, because success is simply disciplined effort repeated more times than others are willing to endure. Do you hear me? Endure, look around you, look at those who are truly wealthy, not just flashy, not just loud, I mean stable, I mean grounded. Look at how they live, look at the structure in their lives, look at the habits they've embraced that the average man mocks. Early rising, focused planning, delayed gratification, constant learning, strategic networking, these are not accidents. These are not personality quirks. They are intentional disciplines. You don't drift into wealth. You don't stumble into greatness. You build it, brick by brick, day by day, and every excuse you entertain is a thief. Every compromise you allow is a crack in the foundation. You say, it's just one day off. But habits aren't built in the big moments. They're built in the moments you think don't matter. Do you know why discipline matters? Because your feelings are inconsistent. Your energy fluctuates. Your motivation comes and goes. But habits, they anchor you. They carry you when your emotions betray you. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you say you want to be. And you must cross that bridge daily. Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a choice, it's a muscle, and like all muscles, it strengthens with resistance. Every time you choose what's hard over what's easy, that muscle grows. Every time you say no to temporary pleasure for long-term gain, that muscle grows. And the stronger it gets, the easier it becomes to choose wisely. That is how the rich think. That is how the strong live. The wealthy understand something that many ignore. Consistency outperforms intensity. You don't need 1,000 intense moments. You need 1,000 faithful ones. You don't need to feel invincible every day. You just need to show up every day, especially on the days you don't want to, especially when it's dark, especially when it's boring, because the days that feel insignificant are the ones that actually decide your future. Wealth is not just about money, it's about capacity. Can you be trusted with more? Can you manage more pressure, more complexity, more responsibility? If you can't manage your own time, your own spending, your own thoughts, why would wealth come to you? Why would abundance entrust itself to a man who cannot rule his own day? Do not be deceived. Discipline is not legalism. It is not oppression. It is freedom. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from scarcity. Freedom from regret. Because every disciplined decision today removes future pain tomorrow. That's wealth. Peace bought by structure. Security bought by order. Joy bought by faithfulness. And yet, some of you resist this because you've been lied to. You've been told that success should be easy, that you can manifest millions with a vision board alone, that you can declare wealth into existence without labor, but the earth does not yield its harvest to those who merely speak. It yields to those who plow, who sow, who endure seasons of barrenness without quitting. That is the way of wealth. That is the way of growth. Discipline means you wake up before others because you know you're building something worth sacrificing sleep for. It means you say no to things now, not because you're restricted, but because your yes is reserved for something greater. It means you are willing to be misunderstood, to be mocked, to be doubted, because you've seen a future that others cannot see, and you're building it brick by brick while they laugh. You cannot microwave wealth. You cannot short-cut legacy. Every shortcut is a trade of your future for a fleeting pleasure. You must be honest about this. Your habits are either a deposit into your future wealth or a withdrawal. And some of you are overdrawn. You're spending more time on entertainment than on development, more energy escaping problems than solving them, and then you wonder why success seems far. You must stop waiting for life to be convenient. Success doesn't wait for your schedule to open up. Discipline doesn't depend on how you feel. You think the wealthy always feel like working, like showing up, like saying no. No, they feel what you feel. But they've trained themselves to obey purpose, not feelings. They've conditioned their mind to serve vision, not comfort. That is the war you must win, not against the world, but against your own apathy. The discipline of managing your finances is another battlefield. You want to be rich, but you spend like a fool. You want overflow, but you can't manage what you already have. Wealth flees from waste. It flees from mismanagement. The man who is disciplined with a little can be trusted with more, but the man who squanders little will destroy much. Discipline is the ability to say, "Not now," so that later you can say, "Now I can." It's the ability to endure the silence, the hidden years, the unrecognized seasons, knowing that consistency is building something that hype never could. This is the unspoken secret of wealth. Discipline is more powerful than genius. It's more effective than passion, because passion fades. Genius can be lazy, but discipline always produces. It's the discipline of reading when you could scroll, the discipline of working when you could rest, the discipline of planning when you could drift, the discipline of investing when you could spend, the discipline of training your body, your mind, your habits, so that you can be sharp, alert, and prepared when opportunity comes. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your preparation, and preparation is discipline. The reason so many people stay poor is not because they lack opportunity. It's because when opportunity knocks, they're asleep. They're not ready, they didn't train, they didn't study, they didn't develop the discipline that would have allowed them to seize the moment. So I ask again, what are your habits saying about your future? Because wealth doesn't lie, it doesn't flatter, it rewards what is real. You can declare what you want, you can journal it, you can believe it, but if you won't do the disciplined work, it won't be yours. The universe does not bend to wishes, it bends to action. The wealthy don't think in hours, they think in results. They don't measure effort, they measure outcomes. They don't seek praise, they seek mastery. They don't wait for motivation, they move in rhythm, in structure, in daily habits that compound over time. That is the way. There is no other, and if you want to build wealth that lasts, you must stop living on emotion. You must stop quitting when it gets hard. You must stop seeking comfort and start seeking mastery. Because the hard path is not your enemy, it's your training ground. And every disciplined step you take, every hard decision you make, every small sacrifice repeated over and over, that is what makes you wealthy. You do not need more luck. You need more grit. You do not need a better environment. You need better habits. You do not need easier circumstances. You need stronger discipline. That is the truth. And though it may not feel good, it will set you free. True wealth does not spring from empty wallets or flashy possessions. It is not defined by the numbers on a bank statement or the size of a house. True wealth is far deeper, far more profound. It comes from value creation and personal transformation. The two are inseparably linked. To understand this is to begin a journey that transcends the shallow definitions of riches, diving into the roots of lasting abundance. Let me be clear, money alone cannot make you rich. Money can come and go. It can be lost, stolen, or wasted. But true wealth, the kind that changes a life and leaves a legacy, is birthed through the impact you have on the world around you and the person you become in the process. The process of creating value for others shapes your character, sharpens your mind, and expands your capacity. It transforms you from someone who merely consumes to someone who produces, someone who builds rather than breaks down. Wealth is fundamentally a byproduct of serving others. The market, the economy, does not reward entitlement or desire. It rewards contribution. It rewards those who solve problems. You want to be rich. Then don't focus solely on what you want to take. Focus on what you can give. Focus on the needs that you can meet. Every dollar you earn is a vote of confidence from someone who believes your product, service, or solution improves their life. And the more value you create, the more votes you earn, and the richer you become. Think about this. The wealthiest people in history built empires because they created something others couldn't. They saw a problem and solved it better than anyone else. They didn't obsess over their own gain. They obsessed over how they could add more value. They transformed industries by innovating. They raised standards by serving at excellence. They multiplied their impact by focusing on the good of others. And through this, they became wealthy, not because they chased money, but because they chased value. Yet, value creation is not just about ideas or products. It's also about relationships. It's about trust. It's about integrity. A business built on deception or selfishness will crumble, no matter how brilliant the idea. True wealth creators understand that people are not just customers or transactions. They are human beings. Treat them with respect, build trust, deliver consistently, show humility and generosity. These qualities open doors, build networks, and create opportunities that no amount of advertising can buy. But here's the rub. Creating real value requires transformation within yourself. It demands growth. It requires you to change, to become a person capable of delivering something meaningful. You cannot give what you do not have. If you want to offer wisdom, you must grow in knowledge. If you want to offer leadership, you must develop character. If you want to offer excellence, you must cultivate discipline. Wealth is not just external, it is internal. The transformation that leads to wealth is not comfortable. It is a daily choice to push beyond your current limitations, to confront your weaknesses, your fears, your pride, to learn when you would rather ignore, to work when you would rather rest, to persevere when you would rather quit. This transformation is the process of becoming someone who can bear the responsibility and challenges that come with real success. No one grows wealthy by remaining stagnant. The mindset that once served you may now be your greatest enemy. If you believe you are entitled to wealth without effort, you have already lost. If you think success is about luck or shortcuts, you are deceived. If you refuse to learn and adapt, you will remain in poverty, financially and spiritually. True wealth demands that you evolve, that you expand your vision, sharpen your skills, and deepen your wisdom. It requires humility to admit ignorance and the courage to seek growth. Furthermore, the journey of personal transformation often requires sacrifice. Sacrifice of time, comfort, and sometimes relationships. But these sacrifices are investments into your future. The person you are becoming today will determine the wealth you will hold tomorrow. It is a painful truth that many avoid facing. You cannot outgrow your habits, your character, or your mindset without intentional effort. And if you do not grow, your circumstances will reflect that lack of growth. Consider the stories of those who have built lasting wealth. Behind every fortune is a narrative of transformation. A man who learned to manage his impulses instead of being ruled by them. A woman who invested in learning while others wasted time. A family who built systems and discipline while others lived from paycheck to paycheck. These transformations did not happen overnight, nor did they happen by accident. They were the result of deliberate, daily choices to improve, to learn, to serve. Now, let me emphasize something that is often misunderstood. Transformation is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong process. It is the continuous shedding of old ways and the embracing of new ones. It is the relentless pursuit of excellence and wisdom. Wealth that lasts requires continual renewal of skills, relationships, and mindset. The moment you stop growing is the moment you start dying, and that includes your financial life. Value creation and personal transformation are a cycle. The more value you create, the more you grow. The more you grow, the more value you can create. It is a feedback loop that multiplies over time. Wealth, therefore, is not a static goal. It is a dynamic journey. It is a process of constant becoming and giving. But beware of false value. Beware of the temptation to create value that is shallow, unethical, or manipulative. The market may reward it temporarily, but true wealth is built on a foundation that can withstand scrutiny and time. If your value is built on lies, shortcuts, or exploitation, it will crumble. True wealth is durable. It is resilient. It is built on trust, authenticity, and excellence. To create real value, you must also have a vision beyond yourself. Wealth that enriches only you is poverty in disguise. True wealth blesses others. It changes communities. It impacts generations. The personal transformation that leads to wealth also expands your capacity for generosity. It reshapes your priorities. It makes you a steward, not just a consumer. It makes you a builder, not just a taker. So what does this look like in practice? It means constantly asking yourself, how can I serve better? How can I solve bigger problems? How can I become better equipped to lead, to innovate, to deliver? It means setting standards for yourself that surpass the minimum. It means surrounding yourself with mentors, peers, and resources that stretch you. It means embracing feedback even when it hurts. It means learning to fail well and persist beyond setbacks. If you truly want to build wealth, you must shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, from competition to collaboration, from entitlement to responsibility. You must understand that the world has enough wealth for those willing to create it through service. You must reject the victim mentality that says, I can't because of my circumstances. Because the truth is, your circumstances will never improve until you improve. Personal transformation also means developing emotional intelligence. Wealth requires the ability to manage stress, to communicate effectively, to build trust. It requires patience and long-term thinking. It demands that you control your impulses and maintain focus when distractions abound. These are not traits you are born with. They are cultivated through discipline and intentional growth. The transformation needed for wealth also includes learning to steward your resources wisely. You cannot give what you do not manage. You cannot multiply what you waste. You must become a master of your finances, your time, your energy. This mastery is part of personal transformation. It is a key component of value creation because unmanaged resources are squandered potential. Moreover, transformation is deeply tied to character. Integrity, honesty, humility, these are not just virtues to aspire to. They are essential foundations for lasting wealth. Because wealth without character is a house built on sand. It will collapse under pressure. The truly wealthy know that their reputation and trustworthiness are far more valuable than any asset. They understand that character attracts opportunity, partners, and longevity. Finally, true wealth born from value creation and transformation is fulfilling. It satisfies more than the appetite for money. It feeds the soul's longing for purpose. It grants peace that no amount of money alone can give. It provides the joy of knowing that your life means something, that you've contributed something worthwhile, that you've grown into someone capable of leaving a lasting mark. If you desire true wealth, do not chase dollars. Chase transformation, chase excellence, chase value. Invest in becoming someone who can give more than they take. Build solutions that serve real needs. Pursue growth relentlessly. This path is not easy, but it is sure. It is the path of those who leave behind riches that endure far beyond their lifetime. The world needs people like this, people who create value that lifts others up, people who transform themselves and, in turn, transform the lives around them. People who understand that wealth is not just accumulation, but contribution, that the richest lives are those lived in service, growth, and impact. This is the secret few discover, but many long for. And when you do, you will find a wealth that no one can take from you, a legacy that no storm can shake, and a fulfillment that no amount of money alone could ever provide, could ever provide, could ever provide, could ever provide, could ever